All right, here's what I'm going to be eating for the next 2 years, or approximately 2 years. And so I'm changing things up just a little bit. And so I'm going to fill you in for those of you that are interested in what I'm doing. So for the last, 5-6 years now, almost 6 years now, I've been eating basically only meat. I did a couple carbohydrate plant experiments, but more or less I've eaten just meat for about 6 years now. And I'm not actually changing that. But what I am changing is, so for this last 6 years, basically, I've been around, I just did a body fat test, and I've been around this 12% plus or minus probably. I probably got down to 8 or 9%, and I've probably been up around 14, 15%. But my body fat's been in this 12% plus or minus 2 or 3% for the last 6 years or so. And I haven't really had a strong push in the body composition realm like I did in my 20s, where I would do these big bulks and cuts and do these bodybuilding competitions. And while I don't want to do that, what I do want to do is do what I haven't done in a long time. And that is really focus on putting on as much muscle as I can. And so what I have done in the past is, for example, at the beginning of, let's say, the spring, I would do a real short 6-week cut maybe, and then I would just do maintenance for most of the summer into the fall. And then in the winter, I would do a slight bulk, but it's just been this very light thing. And I haven't really spent a good amount of time trying to put on a lot of muscle. And now that I'm in the back half of my 30s, I really want to focus on maximizing muscle. And what really got me, focused on this recently is, well, for the last 2.5 years now, basically 2020, my gym shut down. It was a virus casualty, and I've only been doing home workouts for the last 2.5 years, basically. And these workouts have been fine, but they've kind of been like going through the motions, or at least not with like the intensity that I used to. And the gym used to be my home away from home. It was the place where I went to like blow off steam. It was also basically my one social outlet. And so what I'm going to focus on here for the next 18 to 24 months is really putting on a lot of muscle mass, or as much as I can. And I want to get back in the gym. I want to put a big focus on lifting again, and really just try and put on some muscle mass. And so while I'm not changing the foods so much as how I am approaching those foods. So my diet will probably still be 80, 90 plus % beef. I just feel the best on beef. I think it's probably the best food for me and most people. So it'll still predominantly be beef. But I will likely experiment with eggs. I haven't eaten eggs basically this entire year. So I'm going to bring eggs back in. I'm going to take them out. I'll probably experiment with some raw dairy some more. If you've been following along, I did a raw dairy experiment earlier this year over the course of 5 to 6 weeks, where I tried in some raw dairy, see how I felt. And while I didn't feel like it didn't make like a huge positive difference, I was already feeling great, there was also no downsides. And so the reason I may experiment with raw dairy moving forward into this 2-year kind of bulk is it would be an easier way to try and increase caloric consumption. So one of the things I want to do is progressively, month after month, push the appetite a little bit more, a little bit more, creating this little bit of caloric surplus, if you will, to help maximize the muscle building. And so those are probably the 3 main foods I will be eating. I'll eat other meats, like a little bit of chicken here and there, a little bit of pork here and there. I'll eat a little bit of seafood here and there. And when I eat beef, I buy a whole cow. So I'll eat the liver, I'll eat the tongue and the organs that come with it, like the heart as well. So I'll eat the cow, I'll eat some eggs, probably experiment with some eggs, take those in and out, experiment with dairy, take that in and out. And then I'll have the occasional seafood, I'll have the occasional other meat. But that's going to be the basis of the diet moving forward. And I'm going to do one thing a little bit differently. And that is the plan is right now, and this is a strategy I've never done before. So I'm just curious to see how this goes. But I'm going to start the month, like the first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of each month for the first 6 months, let's say, and do like a 3-day protein sparing modified fast where I drop food drastically on those first 3 days of the month. And I'll probably do not just fast, but protein sparing modified fast, where I keep at least 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein, so as to be protein sparing. But the reason I want to do this is, one, it's going to make sure I don't put on too much body fat too fast. And then two, there are obvious benefits to not just overloading the digestive system on an ongoing basis for 2 years. So that'll give the digestive system a break. It'll allow some of the benefits of quote unquote fasting without the downsides of potentially wasting away any muscle mass. So to balance the best of both those worlds. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Like for the first 6 months, I'll do 3-day protein sparing modified fast to start those months. And then maybe the next 6 months, maybe 4 days, like bump it up to a 4th day. And maybe the next 16th months, as I go through months 12 to 18, maybe even bump that to 5 days. That's to be determined, but that's kind of the rough plan going forward. So I'm just going to fill you in on, what I'm going to be doing the next 18, 24 months. What I'm thinking is maybe at the end of that, then I'll do another, fat loss sprint and see where the body composition is after that. So I just had the DEXA and in-body body fat scans where I can see like how much body fat I have right now, how much muscle mass, everything from bone density. So I have all that data right now. And then probably in 2 years or so, I can do a comparison to see, as I get into the late 30s, was I able to still put on muscle mass on just like an animal-based diet, and basically see those results. So this is kind of a long experiment, but this, I'll be cataloging this in the Saturday 7 newsletter. If you want to follow along, I'll give updates every quarter or so just to let you know how things are going. And if you want to follow along, do it with me. This is kind of a similar path that I recommend a lot of people go on when they go into an animal-based carnivore meat-based diet is, hey, focus on putting on muscle mass, eat the highest quality food, and a lot of times the body composition will take care of itself down the road. And even down the road after 12, 24 months, if you have a little bit more body fat than you want, then you can do a fat loss sprint so much easier because the metabolism is in a place where you can find success. So it's just a brief update, and look forward to following along, cataloging this journey with you. And if you're following along, thank you, and I will just stay in touch. All right, thanks. See ya.